Core Naga, on the other hand, is very good in the later stages of a draft. I feel like it's most likely just going to be a support, which at this stage I don't like against these heroes, personally. I feel like Naga, SF don't really complement that, each other that well, whether it's a support core or core combination. And on the flip side, Vici's response, I think, is really good. Tusk is annoying for SF no matter where SF plays. If he's mid, you can roam on him. If he's safe lane, you have Viper, you can dumpster him there too. So I think Vici's response was very good.
Just looking at this Viper for Vici Gaming, whether either XM or BAB has played the Viper, they both have been either picked in first or last phase, and they've both lost. But they've obviously been playing against very different drafts than the SFs and the Nagas that have been picked in the first phase. So this could be a, it's a flex Viper in the end. So they still got all of their options open. If they want to duo up another offlane hero with the Tusk, what Fear already brought up, Tusk Viper, really good lane in terms of trading capability, punishing the carry, pretty easy lane for the Viper to win. But does it really apply that, Viper win lane, lose game, or win lane, win game? Maybe this one does the trick.
Yeah, I mean, definitely for sure. I think the Naga is a pretty good answer to the Viper Tusk lane. You're gonna get some farm, you get those illusions up. You can still lose the lane depending on your pos 5. I'd like to see them pick up. Chen could be really good for them actually, something that can push off the Viper, give the space for the Naga to get some farm here. If they do go the route of the support Naga, and then they put the Shadow Fiend and the carry position, you got to be sweating a little bit on this lane. One wrong turn or one wrong move, you get snowballed on. Naga can't really help you as a Shadow Fiend. Same problem as Kezu mentioned with the Shadow Fiend in the mid lane. You can just leave your offlaner. I mean, Viper might not be the best hero to leave there. We don't know if they're going to flex this Viper to mid lane and follow the SF, but it is very scary as a Shadow Fiend this game. You will always want to know where Tusk is, and very interested to see on how to decide to do these matchups, because if Tusk starts roaming mid, Wildcard are also going to need another hero. Probably they're positioned 4 to just be mirroring the Tusk to be able to stop these initiations. A Shaker could come to mind, even though the win rate on that hero is not great.
Yeah, you said the win rate though was a little bit because you feel a lot of people are picking Earthshaker either into Morph, or people are retaliating with the Morph into Earthshaker. So we can say that there's a reason why the win rate might not be too good, but
there's Morph in the pool too.
Yeah.
So it would be scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I was like, Morph still hasn't been banned out, which is somewhat surprising, but that Snapfire getting all the way through and then picked up for Wildcard, as we see VG pick up Disruptor Kezu.
Yeah, I think the Snapfire pick, just to give them some more team fight, I would be surprised if they're not heavily contemplating to pick a Broodmother here. For Wildcard, all these 3 heroes on Vici, they don't deal with that hero at all. They banned 3 similar heroes of that same type, so they're kind of protecting themselves against that, but they left the Brood in the pool. Maybe they already have an answer prepped on Vici at the closing phase. I think most likely you'll see Brood Pango for the offlane, or you will see another 5 picked up. Something that Fear mentioned, something like a Chen could work. I would still like that a lot too. It solidifies a little bit of your Shadow Fiend to give him some of the healings, which is pretty good against these Vici heroes, and it's a good laner in this game as well.
I am so scared right now, actually, for this mid lane, though, because if this Snapfire is your pos 4 and your SF's going mid, they don't have a single hero that can help alone if he's on this SF mid versus Tusk rotation.
Yeah.
And that is very scary.
I don't know, maybe they want to get something like Pango for Dalai Lama, because I had also thought about the Brood. It could sit in here. They also have picked LC in the second phase, and, well, they decided to go for it. At least it helps you keep your heroes alive a bit, purging away most of Viper's damage capability, allows SF to reposition as well. Nice attack speed buff as well, which does help out the Shadow Fiend quite a lot here.
Yeah, I mean, laning stage 2, you can lane versus Disruptor, most of the damage through the Thunderstrike, you just remove it, and you're chilling. There's also a possibility, I don't know if the matchup's probably still too hard, but some people have ran Legion versus Viper. I probably wouldn't recommend it, though. I think it's mainly just for the Disruptor to lane against it, and he'll be able to be left alone, and that'll give some space for Alex to maybe make some rotations.
Yeah, and they have a lockdown combo. Like a very, very simple combo of dual into Mortimer's Kisses for pickoffs, and I kind of like the idea of that too.
Morph making it all the way to the end of that second phase for VG. They pick it up. Is there a worry? Do you share the same, I guess, issues, Kazu, that Fear expressed about, you know, the lack of support for that Shadow Fiend if it does end up going mid?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially because this time around, I'm actually correct, and Vici will be last pick, so it's gonna be on them. Like they're like, okay, if it's Naga carry, we can pick a new offlaner, which they should not feel bad about at all. Viper mid can pretty much shit on the Shadow Fiend, especially with Tusk coming over. And also, what Viper and Morph want from this draft is like teamfight. From, you know, they want some guy to go in. Most of those heroes, they also do well against Naga in the game. And I feel like Wildcard are in a bit of an iffy situation because Naga core might look good right now against these other heroes, but then Vici have the last pick, and I feel like your tri-core doesn't make the most sense. I like Legion with SF, it's kind of cool. It's one of the ways how Legion can maybe work, but then I feel like this Naga is a little bit misplaced. And then Vici have the last pick on top of that, so I'm a little bit worried.
What I'm kind of thinking here, like for Vici Gaming, like if they want to put XM with the Viper into mid, isn't this a really good Mars game for BAB?
I think that'll just allow Naga to have like a free lane. What I would like to see happen here, for sure, is I want to see Wildcard, I want to see Sammy kind of play this, I don't know if he will, I'd like to see him play the Snapfire, they play Naga on core, it's a good enough Naga core game, Shadow Fiend goes mid, put the Legion off lane, and pick like, is Tiny in the pool? Yeah, pick a Tiny, something like that, or an Earth Spirit, something that can like help go, whatever they pick mid here, protect your mid, and just make sure you can even put pressure on the enemy mid itself. You need to make sure Alone here has a good game. If they do want to go with the support Naga, I feel a little worried for their draft, to be totally honest with you. So I do hope this is a core Naga game. It looks like a fine core Naga game. It's not a lot of tools against it right now.
I mean, that unpredictability, again, coming through for Wildcard, because they have played Legion Commander and the Naga on safe lane before. So it really is just fully up to them where they want to take this, what direction they want to have. Because is there any other last picks that you think could kind of help them out a little bit more?
I mean, I kind of think that Fear hit it on the spot in order for them to round out their draft in a nice manner. Because I also think if you pick a new carry, it's super hard. Like, let's say you take some melee hero, well, congrats, you're gonna go lane against Viper. So I think picking like a new support, as he had mentioned, I think would have been the most ideal for them.
Alright, well, Elder Titan and Timbersaw coming out for those last ones. BG, not taking too much time to think about the fact that they want that Timber as their last pick. Fear, is the worry still there for Wildcard?
Yeah, it just got worse. This,
Oh no. Oh no.
this Elder Titan, in theory, I get it versus like the Morph, you reduce his armor to 0. I just don't think we're gonna see a single scenario where that actually comes to fruition after these lanes, but hopefully I'm wrong.
Maybe, you know, Wildcard right now, they have a 100% win rate on the Shadow Fiend Snapfire combo. T-Panda, do you think that one's going to be broken, or are you a little bit more hopeful for Wildcard?
I mean, ET is a nice addition to the draft, yeah. Like, against the Morphling, at least it allows them to hit even harder with the Shadow Fiend. But they're also playing 2 new heroes completely in their course of this tournament. Then we see the Timbersaw as well that Vici hasn't played before. You've got some answers and you've got some tools in teamfight, but seeing that Timber last pick, I feel this is going to be a very hard game for Wildcard if they can't shut him down early on in the game. Like, this is a rough game for Wildcard.
And very quickly, Kazu, how do you see the early game playing out?
Yeah, so I think that Vici is going to have a very good early game, but Morphling is going to farm bottom, Viper is going to do very well mid, he's probably going to get ganks from Tusk because he doesn't need to help Timber, and Timber is going to smash the top lane.
All right. Well, I feel like you're all on the same boat there. Let's see if our casters are going to join you as we are jumping into VG versus Wildcard with Fluke and Snare.
Thank you very, very much, Nat. And indeed, here we are, Luke. We are looking at Vici Gaming versus Wildcard Gaming, the first elimination game of the day. Loser of this, done, dusted, they go home, straight to the airport for you. Winner, though, gets to continue in the meat grinder into tomorrow for hope of getting all the way to TI. Do you also feel the same way as the rest of the panel there? What's your read on the draft that we have on our hands here, Fluke?
Yeah, I definitely feel like the panel hit the nail on the head, right? Like, going into it, those first couple of picks just felt like that this first pick, Shadow Fiend, got dealt with really, really well. XM on the Viper is going to have a relatively easy lane. The Tusk has been able to do a whole lot of work so far. And Wildcard, I liked that they opened up with the Naga Siren early on, but I didn't really see it kind of come into it as being kind of a gacha pick. Yesterday when they were playing up against Polaris, they used it as this kind of reset button up against the Undying, but they already banned out the Undying in the first couple of phases. So it feels like to me that they really wanted to try and have this Naga Siren flex, and then Vici Gaming perfectly played around it, meant that the support Naga Siren isn't going to be too good, the core Naga Siren is not going to be too good, and I mean all three of the lanes coming in from Vici Gaming are going to be oh so strong.
The laning phase is of deep, deep concern, and Vici Gaming, it feels like they have a read on that as well, because they're trying to play with the front foot already, trying to establish some dominance in the Vision game, make sure that they get as many bounties as humanly possible. One thing that's also going to be interesting to note about this game is that we have the Morphling versus Shadow Fiend matchup as the primary cause. Wildcard, of course, playing the Shadow Fiend on alone, and we have the Erica Morphling. But both of these heroes, the most picked core heroes in the game right now, and both of them north of 60% win rate here, Fluke. So it is certainly in safe hands if this is how you want to carry the game for yourself. And we have seen, let's be honest, a lone Shadow Fiend more than once this tournament has proven us wrong about the strength of the relative draft. So we shall see. And they have made the adjustment of putting XM on the Viper in this mid lane. It's going to be the 1v1. They don't have to worry about having the safe lane matchup. But you're not dodging the Viper, they say. They guarantee that Alone has to deal with him somehow.
Yeah, it's also hard for Alone to continue to overperform. I think at this point, from what we've seen from Alone on the Shadow Fiend, he really has been going above and beyond. And this game, once again, he has to go above and beyond. If they can make it so that Frisk doesn't just get these early rotations towards the mid lane, then he should have a relatively okay time, push out the wave, as long as he doesn't get killed too early on the Shadow Fiend. Should be okay once you start building in towards things like the BKB, the Dragonlance, and have those auto attacks going. That's when the Viper's not going to be an issue, but you can already see what XM is doing. Gets the spit out. Alone really can't do all too much because he's had to spend so much of his mana just getting these first couple of creep waves going.
Laning against Viper, the favorite activity of any Dota player. Poor Alone, having to deal with the situation, but for the most part, he should still be able to get his CS, even if he can't exert massive influence on the lane. But the fear, I think, is primarily about the role of Frisk. You just mentioned it now. We heard it on the panel. And the Frisk Tusk is also no joke. This is his 6th game on the hero, thus far an 80% win rate. They've looked so dynamic whenever they do have Tusk in general on the team for the side of Vici Gaming. They've, of course, played it on Yang once or twice. But Frisk has just looked so, so good. And talk to me about how this top lane is going to look. We have this Tusk with the Timbersaw. The two of them can, of course, have a pretty good time. But is this when do they also threaten potentially Sammy here in this top lane and try to dive onto him?
I think roughly around about that level 3, level 5 kind of power spike for the Timbersaw is always the scary part. You can go to an extra level in the Whirling Death if you want, or you can continue just getting levels in this reactive armor. And at that point, like, the Naga Siren's really not going to do much to you. Sammy Boy can try his best with an Echo Stomp as a disengage, but I think it's more going to be a mitigation tactic rather than actually try and alleviate some of that pressure. And I think we can already see it now. The fact that BAB is level 2 and Frisk is able to make that rotation towards the first Water Rune just means that they already understand that this Timbersaw lane is going to be oh so easy for BAB. Once he starts getting in towards those high levels, that's when the kill threat can come. But it should always be able to just go towards the neutral camps anyways. So once it starts getting scary, he'll leave out, and that's when you can start making those rotations for Vici Gaming to take the tower.
Some success being found by Wildcard Gaming here on this bottom side of the map, where we haven't really talked about too much, as Alone doesn't have to worry about being glimpsed back at any point, as they have gotten Yang killed in this bottom side of the map. Alex will be happy about this. Does feel like this Disruptor hero has been very temperamental so far in the last chance qualifiers. When he looks good, he looks oh so good, looks pretty incredible. But there have been some pretty yikesy performances where the hero just feels like he's not doing anything on the map. This game, though, does feel like the Static Storm is fairly problematic. There's only like, what, one early BKB that comes out in this game from the Shadow Fiend. So if Yang can't get a good game, forced to use it defensively at this point. But I'm starting to get a little bit scared about what this spell can bring for the latter portion of the game, especially for Alone in this mid lane.
Yeah, I think that's where it's really going to start being scary, because we talked about the fact that Shadow Fiend is the primary damage dealer. I would love to see Naga go for a very early Diffuser Manta kind of build. Once again, unfortunately for Alone, that is a solo kill. He almost got the kill there on XM, but that is not what you want to start out here if you're the Shadow Fiend.
Losing a lane to Vipers, already falling behind in the CS department, 18-10 versus the 13-2, and now he's lost his life as well. This is not what you wanted to see as a Wildcard Gaming fan. A lone Shadow Fiend, he's the primary hope of the squad, and him dying like this. You were talking about how he has to go above and beyond. It's already a gargantuan task. It just got a little bit harder, giving up this early lead. And XM's looking like he's chasing him now.
Yeah, and I think Fear was talking about it on the desk as well, that the support's coming in from Wildcard, like Snapfire is your position 4, like what is she really going to be able to do towards this mid lane? Not all too much. Like yeah, you might be able to cookie alone away, but there's not really going to be that much kill threat. And as soon as Frisk makes this rotation as well, it's going to be so hard for Wildcard to keep alone alive. And that's why I really want to see maybe towards this 5-minute mark, they bring both Alex and Sebi Boy towards this mid lane to see if they can try and get a kill on XM, but Frisk is here as well.
Yep, Alex is here too. XM, they're going to try and get the Echo Stomp out. Dodged in by the snowball of Frisk. It'll still be enough to kill the XM Viper though. They do not have enough defensive prowess to stop 3 heroes making this move. Alone softened them up a little bit in the mid lane before they got that kill. So Wildcard Gaming are like, well, we can't bring 1 hero to help us out in this mid lane, so we'll just go ahead and bring 2. Unfortunately, this does leave the side lanes alone, but at this point, you've probably already given up the idea of trying to definitively beat out either the Timber or the Morphling in the laning phase.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of why I said that I really wanted to see Sammy and Alex come towards this mid lane, and they kind of just have to overspend a lot of their resources to take down the Viper, because Viper is also another one of those very temperamental heroes, right? Like, T-Pen is center on the desk, win lane, lose game, and sometimes Viper can really be like that. Can be a very, very strong lane dominator, but it's hard to make these rotations, and bottom lane of Alarm is in trouble.
Yeah, he's in a lot of danger. Yang doesn't have access to the long-range clips. It's only level 1, so they pull in Alex, the more nearby target, should be able to easily clean up the Snapfire. Devi Llama's on the high ground, though. They actually get the turnaround, slowing them down with the Scatter Blast, and Devi coming back in, hoping for some kind of weak target, but nobody to really kill off. We'll just end up taking the free farm on the creep wave. So everybody falling very, very low here on the side of Wildcard Gaming, but Vici don't have the punch just yet. Does feel like they're a lineup that just scales very, very well with levels right now, and they don't have full access to them, so no ability to get this kill.
Yeah, I think they're relatively okay with how things have been going in these first 6 minutes. Maybe if Alex was able to hit that Scatter Blast on multiple members, then maybe they were able to get potentially a turnaround kill, but they're doing okay. You know, Nagasaren's being okay towards top lane, 24 CS. Obviously, it's not going to be an immaculate game going up against a Timbersaw, but very, very soon, he's just going to be able to rotate towards the jungle. They can just keep the Elder Titan up here to try and keep these waves away. And as long as they don't lose too much of this map control, especially this mid-tier 1 tower, they can hold on for, you know, a good 5 or so more minutes, then they might be able to be in a really good position where they're not losing too hard too early on.
Speaking of the mid-tier 1, Alex has to be very careful with his positioning because they are stacking up for him on the side of Vici, but here come Wildcard for revenge. Fire Snap Cookie getting directly onto Frisk, and they're able to bring him down so quickly. Sammy might die though, ticking very low to the Viper damage, but himself and Yang just trying to escape here. Alone, eating a Thunderstrike. The support Frisk is coming back quite soon, so they need to be careful. Shadow Fiend will end up dying. It does cost the life of the Disruptor, but they will take it. Fast Snap Cookie, though, stuns up XM. Will they be able to get the third? XM brings down this Elder Titan. The time is bought by Frisk. So XM will be able to get the turnaround onto Alex with the help of the Tusker. Not able to finish the job is the Snapfire. That's a young 3-for-2 engagement. And they will take that any day of the week on the side of Vici. A double kill for XM, an assist as well. Feeling so much better about himself, and making matters worse is that Wildcard Gaming now have fewer heroes to stack up middle and try to defend this tower.
Yeah, that's probably the worst set of circumstances that could have happened. That would have been okay if they were able to take down XM, but the fact that he lived through all 3 of those kills, he gets a free bottle refill coming in from Yang, he gets a salve on top of that. Now he's going to be happy and healthy, half damage on this tier 1 tower. They're at least rotating towards BAB, towards the top lane, but I don't think they have enough to kill him. He's going to walk out, so right now, Wildcard are trying their best to kind of get some of this pressure back in their own favor, but I don't know how they're supposed to do it from here on out. A level 8 Viper.
Mid lane. Snowball back onto Alex. This level 8 Viper is about to get a little bit more experience here. Fluke as they kill off Alex. It's going to be a kill for Yang, but Viper still nearby. Happy to help claim it. Top of the net worth at the moment. And they're going to keep putting pressure atop this tier 1 tower with this flag bearer wave. This is becoming problematic. Yes, we have the win lane, lose game dynamic, but the game is starting to feel very, very solid. And if they start losing map control this early on, like they have to do everything in their power for this tier 1, because I do not want to see a game where this Viper is just allowed to move around willy-nilly. And speaking of Viper, he's in the triangle right now. They're trying to track down Eves. They get the Viper strike out onto him. The teleport attempted, but clips back. Naga Siren is certainly going to die here. And XM on a killing spree. They're just showing no quarter on the map. Divine Llama can't even catch up to Yang because of the kinetic field. Is the Disruptor going to live through this? Divine Llama has to be careful. Erica coming closer. Waveform up in 2 seconds. Will he commit it? Will he go forward? Will they look for this LC kill? Fire Snap Cookie will buy him a little bit of time, and he will survive on 10 HP. Woo, that was close.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of power of Viper if you're able to abuse the map control that he's able to get you, right? They're just walking around. They found Eves in the jungle, get the glimpse back, means that Nagasara can't go back to the base. I really like what Vici Gaming are doing. They understand that this Viper can be a very hit-or-miss hero, so what they're trying to do is trying to abuse this early kind of map control that they have, really kind of getting on top of Wildcard, because the Nagasara is not going to be a hero that's going to be able to deal with the Viper until maybe 1 or 2 items into this game. Same with the Shadow Fiend. Like, Alone really needs, like, D-lands into a BKB for him to be a little bit of an issue, and XM understands that and just says, okay, I'm going to put pressure on this tier 1 tower. I'm going to take over your jungle because that's where the Naga needs to recover. And I think the best thing about Vici Gaming is, I mean, once again, they found Eves in the jungle here.
Yeah, he's just dead. Gonna get glimpsed back if he tries to escape. They're trying to help him out on the side of Wildcard Gaming, but Sammy gets glimpsed back. He can't assist anymore. Alone will at least be able to clean up the task and earn himself a double kill off the back of the Disruptor kill. The question will be if Vici Gaming still want to keep up this pursuit. There's no need to do so and no ability anymore with Frisk being dead. But that's still a hashtag worth. Every single time you get this Naga hero killed, you were just mentioning it now, right? The hero needs multiple items to be able to contest against this Viper, and each death delays the progression towards those items. And she's just further and further and further away right now. And more pressure being applied to Alone, because now suddenly he has to carry a lot more in this mid-game timing before the Naga is ready to fight.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing, right, is Alone now has got a lot more pressure on his back. Divine Llama's had a relatively okay laning phase so far, got an early duel win here. Doesn't really have anything to write home about, but if Alone and Divine Llama are able to kind of walk around the map with Alex being able to get a little bit of that extra magic damage, and they can pick up like an early kill on BAB or maybe even an early kill on XM, they're going to be relatively happy with how this is going, but it is very dire straits right now. Obviously the game's not blown out, but it is definitely looking like exactly what we saw yesterday when we saw Erica on this Morphling. Erica got a whole boatload of space coming from Vici Gaming, farmed up, got a very early Lincoln Sphere, and then at that point he was almost untouchable. So looking very, very similar towards the bottom side here where Semi runs into some Vici Gaming heroes.
Yep. Well, they ran into him. They smoked up from the mid lane, these two supports. They were intent on getting this kill so they can put more pressure on this tower, get access to this bottom side of the map. Wildcard, recognizing that this play is happening though, they've also smoked up. They want to get this duel into the Morty's Kisses combination. If they're able to find that, it's a lot of damage. Nobody on the map can survive that right now. I don't even think the Morphling can. But the question is, are there any viable targets nearby? Divide doesn't have the Blink Dagger just yet, so kind of hard to initiate at this point. And there's nobody that they can find access to, so Alone will instead just decide to put pressure on the tower. They bring in Sammy as well. They want to ensure. And okay, Tumblr's Toy plus the Fire Snap Cookie. They get it onto XM, and the full combination will of course get the kill. But the Static Storm was out from Yang onto Alone. They prevented the Requiem, and now with the rest of the team streaming in, they might want to try and get some kills here. Eve's forced to pop the song. Do they have follow-up? Right next to BAB, who's on less than half HP. Do they have a way to get this kill? Echo Storm holds him in position, and Alone will be able to chop him down. Frisk almost dead as well. Buys time with the snowball, but this is just time for his compatriots to escape. He knows that he's dead to rights. And Alone gets himself a triple kill. Sorry I ever doubted you, fam. You've got this. Putting the early game on the back of himself. And Wildcard Gaming thanking him for his efforts.
Yeah, that was a really sick initiation that came in. Divine Llama has the Tumblr's Toy as well, so much gap close to be able to go down where Vici Gaming, they get the counterpunch there on Alex. They're looking for more. I think they should be relatively okay. Does Sammy have a TP though? No, he doesn't. So fortunately for Sammy Boy, he's going to be stuck between this awkward area where he can't actually get out of it.
Oh.
There's no way he kills Yang, right?
Kill Yang. What? Woo, he actually almost got him. God. He's going to end up dying for this though, but it was a cool attempt coming in from Sammy, reminding us of how powerful the briefcase can be. Does end up dead, but whatever. Feels good. feels good nonetheless, as we are going to end up looking at this fight once again. Beautiful initiation, like you mentioned, with the Tumblr's Toy going forward. Afterwards, though, it is the Song of the Siren. BAB ended up losing more HP than he thought thanks to that ET splitter. So by the time that the song comes out, it's pretty much a guaranteed fight loss already for Vici. The only bright spark, the only silver lining is that they didn't concede the tier 1 tower, which is what Wildcard Gaming really wanted out of this, but the next time that that kind of initiation happens, they almost certainly will end up losing it, given how low it is on HP.
Yeah, you can see how amped up Sammy Boy was about that as well. It was a really nice use of the Song of the Siren. You can see the kind of cogs turning in their brains, right, saying, okay, do we want to disengage from this? Do we want to try and get this extra kill set up? And that's why I like this Naga Siren as a support. I'm not 100% sold on it being a first pick after you haven't really seen all too many of the heroes that it counters. But I do kind of like the idea that Wildcard Gaming are kind of playing around this Naga Siren as a hard reset button, right? Especially against a hero like Timbersaw. If you're able to wait those few seconds, get rid of some of those reactive sacks, you can kind of set up and re-kill this Timbersaw and kind of deal with him that way. Erica, though.
He's in danger. Does he have this vision here? They don't have a Blink Dagger. Gets the waveform away. Tumblr's Toy, they're trying to go for this play once more. Echo Stomp will catch him. He didn't have access to the waveform. Reinforcements are coming. Did he get off the strength morph? No, he did not. So he's going to end up losing his life. Will they find revenge here from Vici? I don't think this is the fight they want to take. Although XM feeling a bit gung-ho about this. He has the high ground positioning, waiting for a target to come up the way. Sammy will just plop down a sentry ward so they have some degree of vision on this obs. They know they've been scouted. They know they have to play safely, and now Vici Gaming aware that they need to retreat. But XM, he's still so deep into this here, Fluke. Echo Stomp is ready. He's not going to catch him, but they have vision finally onto XM. There's going to be the duel. It comes in before the Static Storm can connect. And Vici Gaming overstay their welcome in the dire jungle and get punished for it heavily by Wildcard Gaming.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting that XM decided to stay up towards it. Obviously, he didn't know that there was a sentry ward that was just towards that northern ramp on the outpost, but just sticking around a little bit too long, hoping to see if some of these heroes would disconnect. But Alex in the mid lane, yeah, it's going to die out to a Chakram.
He might be able to set up for some adventure because he's still alive for now. He's not dead just yet. Snowball coming in will be able to bring him down, but Yang died first. Divine Armor, man. Yesterday and today, continuing to surprise us and just demonstrate value for his squad. Whenever they need him, it feels like that's when he pops off the most. Like, you know, bottom, they might need him here. Eves does dodge the eye shots, though, escaping from the situation. The scary part about this, Fluke, is that he also has a Blink Dagger being flown in right now. So that's the reward for all of his efforts in the last few minutes. And they already made a recent smoke movement. But as soon as the Requiem is back online, I wouldn't be surprised to see them going again and trying to get another kill.
Yeah. They are very much doing a great job, Wildcard, at constantly just putting on the pressure every single time that they have a smoke or a way to move out. Playing around their wards, just really trying to abuse the fact that they actually have quite a lot of damage early on. Things like Requiem, the Mortimer's Kisses, Fire Snap Cookie, and even just a Legion Commander Duel and everything that ET brings to them as well. Like, ET is a great amplifier of damage for every kind of hero in the game. And the fact that they're able to really abuse what that natural order is able to do for them. Fristo, he's going to stand in the front lines. He's just really being the kind of vision maker for them because they don't ever want to blink duel onto the tusk because they don't know what is going to be sitting behind Frisk there.
They don't know what's behind them. They don't know where Yang is with the Static Storm. Not necessarily the initiation that you want. But Wildcard still feeling decently comfortable. Glimpse back onto Alex. So they're trying to force a fight here. But does have the Fire Snap Quickie. Man, this Fire Snap Quickie, Tumblr's Toy plays feels like you already had a Blink Dagger pretty much for Divine Armor. Now he has one for real. A surprising amount of mobility from Wildcard Gaming considering the heroes that they have at their disposal.
Yeah. Seems like so far that they've really been able to utilize everything they've been given. And I think they've stabilized the game in a relatively good spot. Like, alone, he's getting very, very close to having most of his BKB done. He's got the Mask of Madness, he's got the Dragonlance, so he's got a lot of damage right now. Eves is in a good position as well with the Mantisyle. He's going to go for an early Orchid here. I like this pickup. I just, when I was talking about the Mantisyle Diffusal Blade kind of build, it's just this cheap item with your Mantisyle that just allows you to fight early on. I don't want to see all these, like, stupid late game kind of items right now. I like this Orchid pickup, being able to go in, cap somebody out with the ensnare, get the Orchid down, and get this kill. XM though, he's stuck in an awkward spot. Maybe Eves can take him down.
Yeah. Eves has access to the song as well, so he's gonna song him up.
Oh, he's so
Everybody's coming. Divine Llama's here. They've got the duel. There is absolutely no chance of survival here, my friend, as he'll end up losing his life and granting damage over towards the Legion Commander. What's the play right now for the side of Vici Gaming? It feels like just slowly but surely they're being bullied across the map. Doesn't feel like they can skirmish effectively at the moment. What should they be doing? Is there an item spike that they're waiting for? A level timing that they are really trying to achieve before they can make engagements happen? We'll talk about it in a second, because top lane alone might be a little bit alone. He has Divine Llama to back him up, but they know that there's no duel. Do they have the damage though is the question, and indeed they do. Brought down by BAB with the Chakram. And with no backup, they knew that most of these heroes were dragged in towards the bottom lane and they wouldn't be able to respond in time. Pretty great play and good read of the game by Vici, and they're not done just yet. Gotten the glimpse back onto Sammy. Erica streaming over with the Tusk. Frisk, does he have the access to the eye shot? Indeed he does. Not going to need them though, as Sammy dies way too quickly. So that's 2 quick kills coming in from Vici Gaming. All right, I guess that's also what they need to be doing at this stage. However, the fight's not over as they found a duel onto Frisk. He will end up dead, but Divine Llama might have overcommitted here. Glimpse back coming in from Yang. They will track back Alex, and Erica brings down the easy snapfire target for a double kill on the Morphling. Okay, starting to look a little bit better here for Vici Gaming, and Erica off the back of these kills pretty much has the full Aghanim Scepter completed now.
Yeah, I was going to say the best item timings here for Vici Gaming is waiting on the Aghanim Scepter and waiting on the BKB for XM. Once they start hitting those 2 item spikes, these 2 heroes are going to be very hard to deal with. Obviously, XM's still going to have some issues with the massive amount of right-click damage that can come out between the Naga Siren and the Shadow Fiend. And obviously, he can get dueled through BKB anyways, but just means that he doesn't have to worry about the Echo Stop, doesn't have to worry about this Snapfire Cookie. He can kind of just walk around with the Shadow Fiend Requiem as well and just continue to get these poison attacks out. And that's when they can start to team fight. That's when they can start to take a lot of these towers, because they did a good job at taking the tier 1 towers, but they haven't been able to put any more extra pressure on these tier 2 towers, where for the side of Wildcard Gaming, Eves was almost able to get a tier 2 tower in that bottom lane after getting the kill onto XM. And if they're able to take that tier 2 tower, that opens up the outpost, that opens up a massive amount of jungle they can use here. There's Diddy room for Divine Llama bottom though. Frisk
Dodges the initial duel because Divine Llama ran out of mana after casting Overwhelming Odds. These things happen. It happens.
That's why we don't do maths on stream, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes it doesn't work out for you. I don't know if he was actually going to be able to get out of that risk-free either as well, because you saw how fast the rotation was from the rest of Vici Gaming. They brought BAB and Yang towards bottom, so even if Frisk did go down to the last remaining seconds at Diddy Rune, I feel like he probably would have been punished as well. Only Alone was like kind of in the area for that fight as well. So that definitely could have potentially been a blessing in disguise there for Divine Llama. But you can see what both these teams are understanding right now, right? They've got all their strong heroes together, and they're going to start baiting out their hard carries. They're just going to send Eves towards his top tier 1 tower, and Wildcard Gaming going to see if they can get something going on towards the Roche pit.
Smoke up right now from both squads. 7 heroes missing on the map. They both know that the Roshan is the likely side of conflict. They're both posturing, trying to make sure that they have adequate positioning here. BKB has been delivered in for the Viper, and we have the Aghanim Scepter being ferried in right now for the Morph. So Vici Gaming have gotten to the point they want to be, but well, they can't lose Yang. Oh no, Yang is instrumental to these fights. He will die. He does have buyback though, if they do decide to commit this one, and I think they should. There's no way you want to give up this first Aegis to the side of Wildcard Gaming. Divine Llama, they're starting to chomp it down. Here comes a snowball from Frisk. They really want to force this fight. Sammy's gonna die very early on, so they might not need this buyback. Divine Llama forced away from the pit alone, going in for the Requiem. The Fear only connects onto 2. I'm not sure they'll have enough damage to kill BAB just yet. Dual buybacks coming in from our 5 positions on both sides. As nobody wants to give up this Roche. Wildcard, go for the 4-5-man smoke. Yeah, they want the full wraparound here. Can they actually take this fight though?
They're only missing the Requiem, so they're missing that little bit of extra team fight, but they still always have the Song of the Siren to try and rely on as well. Vici Gaming just went with their own smoke here. Frisk, he's going to walk up.
Walks up the high ground, but he gets dueled immediately. However, they get the very quick kill onto this Legion Commander. The sleep, the song comes at the same time as the Morty's kisses, so most of this damage is ignored. But at the same time, XM was in BKB, so he fronts up all the damage. There's a huge static storm catching onto both supports, and with BAB, they're able to chomp down onto one. Alex is going to follow them into the grave, and Alone, despite being in BKB mode, Erica steals his phone, turns around, and just gets the raw right clicks out onto him. And that's a Shadow Fiend gone, done and dusted. As Vici Gaming They went blind up the hill, but Frisk is like, boys, trust me. I trust y'all to kill this LC. Afterwards, I guarantee we'll win the team fight. And not only that, we'll be rewarded with an Aegis as well, as they take the big man down very, very quickly in the aftermath of this fight.
Yeah, Erica completely untouched in that team fight as well. Didn't really have to worry about all too much. As we said, a little bit of that awkward overlap with the Song of the Siren and the Mortimer's Kisses, but it was more so the way they used it was to isolate the Viper. That's how they got the XM kill there. Everybody else was caught napping. XM's the only one that's left alive because of the BKB, and they just got the right clicks going in and they did the damage, but at that point, you could really see that if they had the Requiem of Souls there and they saw Frisk as he walked up, it would have been a massive Requiem. They would have got the free kill going onto Frisk on that Tuskar. Then they could turn around with the Song of the Siren to isolate onto the Viper. You can see Devilama's not all too happy about that because he understood that him dueling the Tusk straight away meant that XM had a free timer in that team fight, and same did Erica. So Wildcard slipping a little bit here. And now they need to try and hold on for the next couple of minutes, try and force out this Aegis from the Morphling, wait out until the Naga Siren can get scary, and then they can try and take another team fight.
Unfortunately, from what we've seen across these last chance qualifiers, Fluke, is that once this Morphling starts to get stronger and stronger and stronger, it's like a freight train. Very, very difficult to stop. Erica slowly but surely approaching the top of the net worth. Eves will be able to force out this wave bottom, and they've almost got the tier 2 tower. But as you were mentioning earlier, Vici Gaming, they were lacking in their ability to do the same, but now they feel very strong on the map. So they'll happily trade these towers. Bottom falls, top will fall in favor of Vici. And Erica going for the BKB next. I think he's recognizing that if he just doesn't die in these team fights and tries to outlast the BKB timing on the Shadow Fiend, he will be able to kill all of these heroes.
Yeah.
And Wildcard Gaming, they don't really have a good counterplay option for like a very, very strong Morphling in the midst of these team fights.
Yeah, and that's kind of the catch-22 when you have this Elder Titan as the counter to the Morphling. He needs to be on top of the Morphling all the time, and if Morphling just stays alive outside of these BKBs and a lot of the bursts that can kind of come in from things like Requiem, the Mortimer's Kisses, Snapfire Cookie, all that kind of stuff, then the Elder Titan's just going to get burst down in one of these team fights because they're going to be able to deal with him early on. He's going to get this early Aghanim Scepter, but that's going to be about it. Like, once he gets the Ag Scepter, yeah, he's going to have a bit of this magic immunity, but ET's not going to stay alive for long in these team fights. So as long as Erica can outlive that initial couple of seconds of the team fight, then he should be relatively a-okay. And the fact that he's got the Lincoln Sphere now as well and the Aghanim Scepter, like, it's just going to be so hard to kill Erica that once he does start building up these damage items, I think it's going to start swinging heavily in the favor of Vici Gaming.
According to Gaben, is starting to trend slowly but surely in favor of Vici as well in terms of win probability. Wildcard, you were mentioning earlier that they just need to try and dodge on the map right now, get what they can, get closer towards getting this Naga as a scary hero. When does she actually become very scary in this game? Because that's always felt like sometimes the perennial problem with this Naga hero in the contemporary days, basically in the post-Radiance era, that it's sometimes unclear, unless she's having a very good game, which one item allows her to get back into that position where she's completely taking over the game. And it feels like Ease as well is having some indecision about this, right? He cycled through the Butterfly from earlier, now he's queued up this Lincoln Sphere. Is this the right item, or is there another item that you feel would really help make a difference for the Naga?
I would have really loved to have seen him go the awkward early on so then they can win some of these team fights, but right now he is stuck in a very hard place.
BKB from Erica. It just got delivered, so Song. Woo!
Oh no.
Not gonna help at all. Not gonna help at all. Erica literally takes you over, holds you in position, and that's a hands-off keyboard moment. You know what's up. You know what's coming. That sucks a lot,
was
Fluke.
on cooldown.
Yeah.
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 It was a bit rough. I thought Eve there was going to be able to get out of the ensnare, but his Manta Star was on cooldown. BKB being popped by Erica, and I don't know. I really, at this point, he's got the Skadi. Like, maybe, I feel like they need kind of some way of dealing with this Morphling. Like, maybe if they want to go for something along the lines of the Orchid would have been nice a little bit earlier on. Yes, he did have the Lincoln Sphere, but at this point now with the BKB, it's going to be a little bit too much. And this is what Vici Gaming are going to do with this Aegis. Constantly be in the faces of Wildcard, constantly just pushing down a lot of these towers. And I think at this point, as long as Wildcard can try and have a good high ground defense, and maybe Eves is able to get that final item, get that item that really cracks the game open for them. But at this point, I'm looking towards Vici Gaming to be able to close this one out, maybe the next Aegis or two.
Top lane, maybe they find Frisk here. Nah, these heroes, they don't have any read on who's behind them, so they just back off. Erica, what's he going to be building up next? Because now he has the full option for damage items, right? That's all he has to think about. BKB, Linken's, Aghanim Scepter, he is just not dying anytime soon. The thing that's really surprising me though here, Fluke, is look towards the Timbersaw. He's actually top net worth on the map right now. And the item build that he's gone for is pretty much like anti-Naga, right? Already has access to the Shiva's Guard. We've got this Hood, the Saya Kanj. This is not a great time to be playing the Naga, because none of these core heroes really feel like they're afraid of you anymore. They just look at you and they're like, all right, fam, pull up. Let's see what you got.
And that's why I was really looking towards Eves to try and have this kind of early aggressive build, right? Because with the Naga Siren, yes, you're at a lot of these waves with your illusions and you can get a lot of net worth, but if you're not putting that extra pressure on the map, then it feels like that you're not all too scary. Because like the days of old with Naga Siren, getting that Radiance, it meant that it was also hard for you to try and deal with a lot of these lanes, but the way that this Naga Siren's being built these days is much more as like a carry that has illusions around you and you push out the waves as you go throughout the game, and Eves just doesn't have those scary kind of items just yet. You know, maybe something along the lines of going for a Bloodthorn next wouldn't be too bad. Maybe something along the lines of an Abyssal Blade just to get that little bit of extra bonus damage to try and get on top of the Morphling, so then alone can blow people up. But they're at least making a move out here on the map are Wildcard. They understand now that the Aegis is gone, they can try and pick off some of these members and maybe catch somebody who's lacking a little bit, but still a very, very rough time right now. Like Wildcard, they need to try and find a team fight where they can kill the Morphling, I think is their next big task. Whereas on the other side of Vici Gaming is, as long as they can continue to just check off these tier 1s, tier 2, tier 3 towers, they're going to be perfectly happy with the game set they've got right now.
They've actually reached a pretty decent item timing here on the side of Wildcard Gaming. Shadow Fiend getting closer to the Silver Edge, but they've gotten the BKB now for the LC as well as the Ags for the ET. So if there's ever going to be a time where they win a fight, it'll be right now, revealing these items at the same time as the Aegis has expired. However, to make matters difficult is that Yang has also picked up an Aghanim Scepter, so they need to be very, very careful that they don't get caught by this Ag Static Storm. They are smoked up right now, looking for the potential wrap. Eves scouting on the high ground with some illusions here, thinking about initiating with the song, and he was going to go in for it. Two heroes caught in. It's XM as well as Frisk. Who's going to be the primary target of this duel? Divine Llama thinking about it, but doesn't like any of these targets, so they just back off. They leave this one alone, but now that actually enables them to counter-initiate. Eve's getting jumped on with the snowball. Yang is on him. There's the Static Storm with the Aghanim Scepter. Will they be able to chomp him down, though, is the question. Here comes the Morphling to answer that with a resounding yes, as Eves gets traumatized by the damage from Erica. Erstwhile Alex glimpses back into the midst of the fight, but they also now come in. Divine Llama is looking for the dual kill. Will be able to bring down XM, but Erica activates his BKB, just going ham onto Sammy Boy. Will be able to kill him. Alone in the meantime with the Requiem of Souls, able to bring down the Frisk Tusk, but BAB jumping onto the high ground. He's getting brought down by Alone, though. Needs to be very, very careful here. Huge overwhelming odds. Almost killed BAB with the Scatter Blast as well. The glimpse back onto Divine Llama actually saves his life after he kills BAB. Vici Gaming, that fight did not go as planned. Wildcard gets something massive out of it. That's 2 core kills here, Fluke. A kill onto the Frisk and some additional dual damage for Divine Llama.
Yeah, they went forward. They understood there's no Song of the Siren, so they don't have to worry about any of these kind of awkward engagements going bad for them after that song was down. The Static Storm, though, wasn't overly amazing from Yang. Yeah, he did catch out the Naga Siren, but at that point, the Naga's not really going to be missing all too much. As we have a look back at it here right now, you see that Wildcard instantly disengage. They don't want to put themselves in such a bad spot. This 3-man snowball puts everybody in such a horrible position, but it's only Eve that gets caught out by the Static Storm. So in regards for Wildcard Gaming, they're going to be A-okay with how that happens. Yes, they lose their Naga Siren, but their true damage dealer is going to be this Shadow Fiend. I think Divine Llama's also going to be a pretty big carry. The fact that they had that Earth Splitter in combination with the duel just meant that they absolutely shredded through XM. And this Requiem kind of just helped Divine Llama as well as Alone stay alive. And you can just see the damage coming in from the Shadow Fiend if he is kind of left alone. So Wildcard can continue to get fights like this, and Alone's able to kind of freely hit here on the Shadow Fiend, then they definitely don't have damage issues.
Hey, we finally get Divine Llama smiling, happy again, feeling good about life. And now, will they be able to claim this Aegis? I mean, they've got a Silver Age on Alone. Vici Gaming know what's happening. and they certainly want to stop this, but the Roche is dying so damn quickly. Divine Llama forces a duel out onto this Timbersaw, but there will be an immediate snowball. ET Splitter dodged as well, but the Static Storm also not going to connect onto anybody. However, the snowball carried Frisk a little bit too far forward. He's on the northern part of the fight, almost killed Alex, but will almost certainly die himself. Eves forced to use the song as he fell so low to BAB. However, now that he has committed the song TP away, nobody's left to contest for the Aegis. So they trade supports, but ultimately Vici Gaming will take it because that gives them full access to the Roshan pit.
Now, Aghanim Shard as well here, probably going to be going the way of XM. In that poison attack,
Yes,
max
sir.
the stacks, lower armor for everybody means that they are going to be absolutely melted through from the side of Vici Gaming. So, interesting fight that went out there. Divine Llama, I don't think you ever want to be dueling the Timbersaw unless you catch him without any of these reactive stacks, because even with the Shiva's Guard, look at how much damage BAB is doing. Maybe they want to
Might do
fight
them now,
here. They
though.
have the Silver Edge.
Yeah. They got the Silver Edge, they got the
Okay.
dual win. Nice debate from Divine Llama and from Alone. He knows that he has backup. He postures with the TP out to make it very, very clear to BAB. BAB is like, oh, I'm going to try and get this kill. I'm not going to try and escape. Then he's like, psych! You thought I'm alone, but I'm not. Alone is here. It's cool.
Yeah, that was a nice little bait. Now that they've got the Silver Edge here, you can almost certainly get those duels going, but in that previous fight, Wildcard really wasn't in a good enough position to get the break going in onto the Timbersaw. And then we just saw what Frisk is able to do with his Blink Dagger, right? Just being able to blink in, get the snowball save, send everybody into a good position, and then, you know, Vici Gaming, albeit they had Sammy Boy in their face on this Elder Titan, they were able to at least kite enough around to keep Yang alive for a little bit longer. So these fights are going relatively easy. Like, Wildcard are finding their angles to be able to get into these team fights, but usually Nagasaran to me has been one of those heroes that feels like it needs to be kind of like an item to a head. Never really one of these carries that likes fighting on even ground, especially against something like a Morphling. So really looking to see what Eves goes in these next couple of items. He's got the BKB queued up, or BKB done now. He's going to go in
Finished,
towards
yeah.
the butterfly. So a bit more of this right-clicking kind of Nagasaran. And if Alone's able to use the space that Eves should be able to give him with this BKB and the Skadi and the Lincolns, then, I mean, it should be okay for Wildcard. Oh, Mjolnir on Erica. Okay.
All right. Full Mjolnir to try and help deal with these illusions. Static charge is not terrible either. Always feels kind of nice. But that is one of the things that they are lacking at this point, right? No way to easily deal with masses of illusions. They're pretty much reliant on bursting the main hero, and that's how they've been dealing with Eves for the most part. But now that Eves has Lincolns and BKB and gonna hit the butterfly, suddenly the prospect of doing so becomes much, much, much less possible. But they're gonna smoke
Alex.
up right now to reveal an item. Dude, how many of these smoke gangs is Alex gonna break this game? What a player. Him and
Yep.
Sammy have been doing a pretty great job of protecting their core heroes from these kind of rotations. It's pretty much only the one big one we saw on Alone in the top lane that's led to death, but for the most part, they've been very happy to tank these ganks.
Yeah, you're definitely A-okay if you're Wildcard right now, especially because Eves is starting to cut these waves as well. If they can deal with this one creep wave and the Naga Illusion is able to cut this creep wave perfectly in their backline, then Wildcard are going to be pretty happy with how this is going. But this is the power of Viper with this Aghanim Shard. Look at how much damage the towers take. I think they need to try and fight soon.
Yeah, they do. They can't let this just go. They do have a clip of fortification if they do want to pop it. Sammy pops BKB, so... Oh, not... So I had the Ag, sorry. So he gets the...
Ags.
Yeah, the spell immunity. My bad. They will actually just give up a Rex for free at this point.
Okay.
They really don't want to overcommit. I mean, we are 37 minutes into the game, right? A solitary lane of Rax, not that big of a deal.
With a minute 30 to go on the Aegis as well, they, as you said, they just don't want to overcommit. The only real way that they get a lot of these team fights going is if they have Divine Llama who gets, blinks in or gets Fire Snap cookied in, and you don't really want to have your Legion Commander out the front like that. So it was very awkward for Wildcard to try and get an initiation. They did their best to try and clear these creep waves, and yeah, they do lose a melee Rax out of that. So at this point, once this Aegis does go, there still should be in a pretty A-okay spot to try and get some of these team fights, but the game is starting to slowly slip away from them. Like Erica being the hipster of the Morphling players, going for this little bit of a different build. He's starting to hit that critical mass. He's going to have a Satanic once this Aegis has been reclaimed. And then once he gets that Satanic, it's going to be oh so hard for them to kill the Morphling, because at this point, they haven't really been able to burst him. I think there was only that one fight towards the top lane, and now with this DD rune on XM, I think they're going to have to try and fight here. There's only 30 seconds to go, so if they can time this well, then Wildcard should be able to take a good fight.
Listen, Fluke, you gotta be careful when you talk about Erica's item build, man. All the DPC China viewers will know it's traumatic. If you mention that he's doing something off kilter, don't say it, it kind of hurts. Frisk jumping forward, they get the Walrus Punch out onto Sammy, and Sam's inside the Static Storm. Will they be able to kill him? Yes, they can, but Divine Llama gets quick revenge, but look at the damage that he's taking from XM. Forced back immediately. There will be a buyback coming in from Sammy, as Erica did lose out on a bunch of HP. There's BKB available, but the age is about to expire. Will they get the fear? Let's see. Will it happen? No!
Oh, no!
The fear doesn't come out in time, but Erica still all alone. Needs to get very far away from this fight. He'll try to jump himself away. In the meantime, though, he's being chased down by Eves, who really wants to demonstrate the power of this Naga Siren. And with the ET splitter connecting, Erica about to die. At the same time, they bring down alone on the back end of the fight. Erica manages to survive somehow, going down to the north. And now here's XM cleaning up on the back end. Huge, overwhelming odds from Divine Llama. With the damage from Eves, allow them to kill the Viper. Somehow Erica does end up living. It's an expensive hold from the side of Wildcard Gaming. Does cost 3 lives to do it. But at the end of the day, they do manage to bounce Vici Gaming away from this bottom lane. It came so close, Fluke. If the execution was 3% better, we would be looking at a dead Morphling right now.
Yeah, you could just tell that Alone as well as Eves, they just didn't have that very clean and crisp kind of execution that they wanted. They did a great job with the Song of the Siren to wait until the Aegis was about to fall out. I love the amount of kiting that Wildcard Gaming are actually able to do here. The fact that Divine Llama goes in, gets that last second duel, and we see here with the replay, it's only like 2 seconds left on the Aegis. It gets reclaimed right now. They can't do any damage because of the Song of the Siren, and because they don't get that initial instant Requiem coming out of the Song of the Siren, Erica gets the BKB off, does plenty of damage. Alone gets caught in the backlines going up against BOB on the Timber. And then at that point, they just kind of run out of damage to take down Erica. They were ever so close to getting it done. And it's a solid hold that comes in from Wildcard. As you said, very, very expensive, though. They did lose 3 lives and 2 buybacks out of that. So Wildcard, they got close to being able to keep that one alive and showing signs that they can definitely win a team fight. But if you're having to expend that every single time, you're not always going to have buybacks.
Yeah. And now suddenly, if any of these heroes die in the next go-around, you won't have buyback. At present, none of these heroes on Wildcard Gaming have access to buyback. It's only this Tusk for Vici Gaming. So, still a very tense game. The big man is possibly up within the next minute or so. So Wildcard Gaming will still have another bite at the cherry, as Vici will likely want to wait that out. But as I say that, here they come in with the smoke. It's going to be smoke on smoke action though, because Wildcard Gaming also coming in. Will they intercept each other? BAB spotted out by Alone. He's in Viz right now. Goes a turnaround. Silver Edge hit does come out. BKB will be there first from him and Erica. Erica throwing in the right clicks though. Alone is in trouble. Alone is dead. Waveform back into the mid lane from the Morphling. Do they want to re-engage on the high ground? Frisk will start the fight for them, coming up here. And they find Eves as well, who has to pop the BKB. XM and Frisk now deciding to surround Sammy. Erica coming into the fray as well. The ET in danger, gets saved at the very last second. And there's going to be a song. Divine Llama, can he TP out in time? Yes, he can. So can Eves. BAB will be able to chase down Sam, so he's the unlucky one in this coterie, but nonetheless, Vici Gaming end up winning that fight, and the big prize was the kill onto the Alone SF, and this should open up the path to a lane of racks.
Yeah, just a very awkward engagement that came in there from Wildcard. They're a little bit disconnected. Eves was in the back line. I thought he was going to try and make a little rotation through those trees to try and take out Yang, but just never got that full committal. And then as soon as Lone got caught out with the BKB and ever so low, that was kind of all she wrote. Mega Creeps now, and Wildcard, they need a big defense to try and keep this game going.
Eves doesn't have access to the song for another 35 seconds. One final lane of racks remains. Alone will be back in 20 seconds, but they push so quickly on the side of Vici between the Morphling and XM with the Aghanim Shard. They should make short work of these buildings. Wildcard, what can they do? Divine Llama looking for a dual target. He finds the Morphling, but woo! He wishes he hadn't. He's already dead. Eves is going to follow him into the grave. Static Storm onto Sammy, as he didn't get the spirit off in time. And Wildcard Gaming, they know that the jig is up. GG, well played is called. And Vici Gaming find themselves one game ahead in this elimination series, one step closer to a slot at TI, and one game away from eliminating Wildcard here in this lower bracket matchup.
Yeah, Vici Gaming coming in with a really, really good draft for game number 1. I think they had some very, very strong lanes. They really had a clear